Good morning. All sorted out. Thank you for having me here this morning. Thank you for coming on a Saturday morning, spending your weekend with us, half of the weekend with us. My topic today is about communication with youth. Communication there's nothing new about communication. Communication has been happening over generations, over a period of time. What I want to touch here today is communication has to evolve over a period of time because the times are changing. Communication has traditionally been seen as just passing a message, but communication is not that. Communication is not just passing the message. Communication is futile unless we connect with the other person. The person we are communicating with, if we don't connect with that person, it's simply futile. And once you... So another technology hit. We've got two mics because we want to be louder enough. Is it better or is still the same? Okay. Yes. Is it better now? Yes, I think it is. Thank you very much. Right, so I was saying that until we connect with the other person, we are not able to inspire trust. We are not able to inspire them to do hard work, and we are not able to generate the positive momentum that we want. And what happens is, most of the time we fail in connecting. And the communication just remains a one-way passage. We communicate something, we're not even sure what the other person is hearing. See, if it was like speaking on the phone and we're talking to someone and the phone disconnects, we come to know. But it doesn't happen in the physical scenario. If we're talking to someone and if the other person is not understanding what we're saying, we don't even realize that we've not connected. You've heard about generation gap, right? Ahmed, you did something to them. Everything was perfectly fine. Yeah, maybe I was near there. That's the reason. I'll probably pass on my phone here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so talking about generation gap. Communication, as I said, has evolved over a period of time and from generations to generations. I believe I am from a generation where I felt when I was young that my parents knew more than me, and I believe that my children know more than me. So I'm that transition generation. Each person in the family has got a different perspective. Each person thinks that the other person is wrong, is not understanding the point of view. So our communication therefore needs to change. Our communication has to change with the times. We say seeing is believing. Whatever we see, we believe it, right? So these two buildings, these images, do you see anything different in these images? Same images. But sight is an illusion. Sight is an illusion. For these two girls, the distances are not the same. Even if the building is the same, the landmark appears to be farther to the person with the heavy backpack. So we create our own realities. Even what we see, the realities are what we have created. We create our own illusions. We create our own realities. We think that we can't do something and we start believing it. We have created a false reality. So what we need to do is we need to get over the fear of failure. Most of the things we don't even commit. I mean, this gentleman just spoke and inspired us in the morning. He took the first step. You had that fear of failure, Ahmed, that you might not succeed. You are in a comfortable 9-to-5 job, but he wanted to do something. He had that fear of failure, but he did it. Because fear, you have to go to success through fear. That's the only way. You will fail. You will have off-the-track struggles. But then ultimately you're going to succeed. So fear is a prison which we create for ourselves, where we are the jailers and we are just sitting there. Let's free ourselves from the fear. All of you would have heard about Abraham Lincoln, right? Abraham Lincoln, he lost 8 elections. He lost in business. He lost his fiancée. He had a nervous breakdown. He failed and failed and failed again. But he chose to get up again, and then he became the 16th president of the United States, and he was instrumental in freeing people from slavery. What if he hadn't got up after 1 failure, 2 failures, 3 failures? He chose to try, and that's why he succeeded. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all times. In his own words, what he said is that I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So failure is something which we need to embrace. Don't run away from failure. That's the message that we want to give to our youth today. As parents, we have to be very focused on certain areas that we need to talk about with our children, with the youth today, that failure is something which we are not to be running away from. J.K. Rowling, everybody knows, Harry Potter series, millions of copies sold, several awards won. She was divorced, unemployed, single mother. She didn't even have money to pay for her utility bills. She got the concept of writing this book on a train from, I think, London to Manchester. She moved to Portugal for some time, lived with a sister. She got divorced there and came back to London, Glasgow. And she then thought that she'll try some publishing houses to get her book published. She went to 1, 2, 3, 4 publishing houses. Everyone ridiculed her. 12 publishing houses rejected her. She still tried the 13th one, and we know now everything is history. So what if she would have stopped after the first try, second try, third try? So the point again here is don't be worried about failure. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, famous TV personality. And she was fired from her first job. They said she's not fit for television. Can you imagine? But she had faith in her abilities. She had confidence in her abilities, and she kept on trying. So if your vision, your dream is great, then so is your potential for success. Right? Nobody had thought Oman doesn't having a racetrack, Ahmed Al Harthi would be the champion in the Middle East. But he had that dream, he had that vision, he had that goal to go for it. We go to parent-teacher meetings at schools as parents, meet the teachers, and we get stressed about good grades. The teacher says your child did very well, 95%. We are not happy because we didn't see the 99%, we didn't see the 100%. We get stressed over good grades. We are still unsatisfied. We need to remember that all children will not do calculus, organic chemistry, robotic science, cancer research. Each child is different. Let's see the talent in our children. Let's hone that talent. Let's not push a medical career or an engineering career or an accountancy career on each one of them. A lot of us get into peer pressure. What will the neighbors think? What will the relatives think? My brother's son scored 96%, my son only scored 95%. So get over this peer pressure. This is creating a lot of pressure on the kids, and it is coming in the way of their constructive development. And we as parents who want our children to succeed, we are the ones who undermine their self-esteem by putting that unnecessarily undue stress on them. The students are stressed out, they feel less of themselves, and we tend to hear only right answers. We reject the mistakes. Let them commit those mistakes and learn from them. Don't be policemen on their head always. We kind of micromanage them. We want to steer them in a certain set of colleges and a certain set of careers. Actually, we should think, we were never expected to perform at the level of perfection that we want our children to perform today. We were good to be just passing the grades. Today, we want our children to score 100%. I agree, times are competitive. But would this be the only way to make our children good for the future? Every situation is not a make or break situation. Every quiz in the class, every homework, every class test, we want the children to perform at their best. It's not a make or break for their careers. Yeah, expertise may be essential. You can't say a doctor that, okay, even if you're not able to do a good enough surgery, it's okay. There are situations where expertise is required. You can't have the surgeon to perform a not so good surgery. But then that is not always the case. Expertise is important, competencies are important, but don't be too much obsessed with it. Watch for the child's interest rather than just going to the counselors and asking them what my child should do to get into a certain college. Have you checked with the child what he or she wants? Or you just want your wish to be imposed on the child? The children are not bonsai plants that we cut and trim them always. They are like wildflowers. Let them grow the way they are supposed to grow. And fear of failure definitely has to go out. If you want to be successful, you must be willing to fail and you must be intent on learning from those failures. Another thing that we need to touch upon when we talk to youth, to our children, there is always a right or wrong way of doing anything. In today's situations, it is very easy to get enticed by easy money, to get the latest gadgets, to buy the latest brands. So this is a very delicate age. This is something which we need to get into a fruitful conversation with the youth, with the kids today. What is right, what is wrong? Character, importance of character. Life is more what you are inside than outside. We should always be doing the right thing, even if it is the hard thing. We need to hold ourselves accountable for every moment, every thought, every act. Yeah. And again, as parents, I'm sure each one of us tries to do the best for ourselves, for our kids, but sometimes we don't realize we have to be intentional. We have to live our life so that when our children think of fairness and integrity, they think about us first. That, yeah, my dad is a role model, my mother is a role model, rather than thinking about my uncle's father's cousin is a role model. So integrity is the key. That is something very, very important, which I believe is going away, or it is not so strong in the youth today. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. That is important, because we ourselves say, "Oh, nobody is watching. Let me drop the garbage on the side. Nobody is watching." Or let me pick up that 10 real note that somebody dropped. Nobody is watching. So I think these are the things which we need to inculcate in the youth, that integrity is so important. They need to understand that they need to keep their promises, even if it is difficult to do that. But if they made a promise, they need to keep up to that. Pay for something you forgot to pay for. Again, these are just examples, but just bringing out the perspective. Never betray trust, even if you get in trouble. Somebody has entrusted you with something. Never betray that trust. Inform the cashier he gave you too much change back. Go back. Otherwise, that cashier at Lulu would get deductions from his salary. Do not gossip. I mean, these are not new things that I'm telling you. We all know all these things, but sometimes we just tend to forget. The other thing that we need to engage into conversation with our youth is that the importance of discipline and hard work. Nothing comes easy. The secret of our success is found in our daily routine, what we are doing day in, day out. The performances that we see, the concert players, the chess masters, they just came from home and performed. They have their daily routine built into that. Our very own example. He worked so hard for that. It's not easy. So discipline is the key. You grow daily, not in a day. I mean, I'll tell you my own story. I come from very humble beginnings. I come from a town 250 kilometers north of Delhi in India. Um, we were in a difficult financial condition, and my father had a lot of pressure from his relatives, cousins, that I should be sent into a government school which had like very less fees. He chose to educate me in an English medium school. The fees was like $1 a month, about 400 paisa a month, which was a challenge for the family to pay. And my father said that I'll miss one meal or I'll skip my entire day's meal, but I'll still choose my son to go into an English medium school. And I've seen that. I mean, I'm not saying that I've arrived. I'm still a work in progress. But the thing is that I had never imagined when, at that time, that I would be standing in front of this august audience. I did my chartered accountancy. I've got like 2 decades of corporate work experience across functions, geographies, industries, and I've been very fortunate to be where I am today. But it's a process. Things don't happen in a day. You grow daily, not in a day. So that's what is important, and that is what, again, I believe that we should be teaching our children today, that nothing is easy, but everything will come. Each one of us has got tremendous potential. Everything will come, just that we have to work for it. Champions don't become champions in the ring. They are merely recognized there. In a half an hour fight, if you recognize a boxing champion, does it mean that the person only fought there? He had been practicing for days and days, weeks and weeks, years and years. And there are no overnight successes. There's no concept of overnight success. You may become an overnight success by winning a lottery, but that money would go sooner than it came to you. If you worked hard for it, that would be a sustainable success. Talking about Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, are these overnight successes? No. They became overnight success because one day we came to know, yesterday we didn't know them and today we know them. But doesn't mean that the success happened overnight. They've been toiling hard for years and years. Because success is a little like wrestling a gorilla. You don't quit when you're tired. You quit when the gorilla is tired. So you have to keep on pushing hard until you succeed. And then another thing that we need to talk about is sacrifice. Sacrifice may sound to be a very negative word, sacrificing, giving away something. But I believe sacrifice is a very positive word. You give something of a lesser value. You sacrifice something of a lesser value to gain something of a higher value. So it's actually a very positive word. Sacrifice is essential. If you have to achieve your goals in life, you have to do a lot of sacrifices. Because we all have the same 24 hours that we can spend either watching TV, socializing on social media, or sleeping. But the same time we could use for working on our goals. And we need to stop making excuses. I didn't do it. I couldn't get up early because I went to a party last night. I came at midnight. So I'll start my walk from tomorrow morning. I don't have enough money. I'll spend when I'm buying all the luxuries and all the brink of respect. I think that is another 10 reals into you. I cannot give you 100 reals. Similarly, if I have hate, if I have anger, if I have jealousy, if I have impoliteness, that's what I'll give you. So we give whatever we have. So if we have respect for others, that's what we'll get from others. If we don't respect others, nobody is going to respect us. Because we need to understand talent alone won't work. You might have an intelligent, qualified professional and you hire that person in the company. But if that person doesn't give you respect, would you like that person? Would that person have a sustainable employment in that organization? So respect has to be earned. Respect is a two-way street. Sorry. Another thing that we need to talk to our youth today is about attitude. Our attitude is a choice. Who makes us happy? Any ideas who makes us happy? It is ourselves. I was actually delivering a talk at a forum, and the topic was happiness. And me and my wife both were invited. And somebody asked in the audience to my wife, that does Nalin make you happy? I was thinking, yeah, she would say yes. She said no. And I was like, oh my God, I've been invited to speak here, and she's saying no. So she said, for the first year of our marriage, I always expected that, yeah, Nalin is going to make me happy. And I used to travel so much. My job was like that. I traveled quite a lot. So she said, I was always depressed with the fact that he's not bothered about me. He's not making me happy. But then she thought that happiness is inside me. If I choose to be happy, then everything is there. And then she said that when I decided that her happiness is inside us, then she felt that, yeah, Nalin is also making me happy. What an answer. So yeah, so it is us who make ourselves happy. Somebody asked me, you worked at various locations, you worked in London, you worked in Singapore, you worked in Muscat. Which place do you like best? I said, wherever I am, I like that place best. Because happiness is inside me. Place is not relevant. And our attitude determines our approach to life. There's a story about this one person who used to carry a halloumi cheese sandwich every day to lunch to his office. And every day when he opened his lunch packet, he said, oh my God, again that halloumi cheese sandwich. Again that halloumi cheese sandwich. So his colleague said, why don't you tell your wife to give you a different lunch tomorrow? Don't bring my wife in here. I make my own sandwiches. So yeah, so our attitude matters. Our attitude determines our approach to life. Our attitude can turn our problems into blessings. I mean, you can take things negatively. Like he said, there's no racetrack in Oman. Is it a negative thing or a positive thing? It's all our attitude, how we think about the situation. Attitude obviously cannot replace your talents, your skills, but it will give you the tools to fight with life in a better way, to approach your relationships in a better way. Anybody has heard about these symbols or seen these symbols before? Or is completely new? New for us. Wonderful. At least somebody could say new for us. Okay. Wonderful. So I think, again, our communication with the youth has to focus on this particular area as well. We are so much engrossed with the social media today that we need to be conscious how we are behaving or interacting with others, connecting, talking, texting, liking, and commenting on posts. We need to make sure that we are not demeaning others by our comments. We are not hurting anybody with our comments. We are not depriving anybody of their credible image with our comments. Connecting is about compassion and kindness, about expectations. Let's see the intent behind this social media. The social media is there to bring people together, to spread knowledge rather than spreading hate and jealousy. Use your keyboard strength responsibly. And being kind doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to write a good comment to somebody rather than writing a bad comment. And people who lift others don't wait until tomorrow or some other better day to help people, they act now. So it's not that, okay, one day a month I'll act good, the 29 days I'll act bad. So make it your habit. Make it a habit of being kind every day. And even the smallest acts of kindness. I'm not saying like Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation donate millions of dollars at one go. You are able to donate 10 reals, you are able to do a good act to somebody, provide a free lunch to someone, that's good enough. Any act of kindness and encouragement will do good to you as well, because the inner satisfaction that you'll get is something beyond imagination. Now, what does strength look like to you? Is strength only physical strength? This is another point that we need to engage our youth with these days, because there are so many vices. This age is very delicate. When we talk about youth, the age is very delicate. Smoking, alcohol, drugs. These are the things that we need to engage in conversations with youth in a way that it is not looking like a lecture. Because when you talk to children, they'll say, okay, again, my parents are lecturing me. We have to engage in a fruitful conversation because these temptations are only temporary excitement and comfort. Saying no to temptations increases your strength. That's the real strength. It's not about physical strength only. Saying no to these temptations, because these temptations might impair you from reaching your long-term goal. You can only say no when you are true to yourself and your values. So the values are so important. Integrity, moral values, if that is there, if those are the conversations we have with our children, they'll be in that. Make tough choices rather than succumbing to negative influences. And more so, the most important thing that we need to tell our children, our youth, is that you have to be your authentic self. We have Ahmad Al-Harthi, we have other celebrities, we have a Bill Gates. We want you, the world needs you. So we are where we are and what we are because of the dominating thoughts that occupy our minds. Have positive thinking always. Keep moving forward. You are the future. Arun, sorry for lingering on. Thank you very much.